Pocari Sweat, similar to a Gatorade. Yay! You absolutely do not have to worry about speaking Japanese in Nagasaki. Every important historical spot is in Japanese and English.
All this remaining Protestant missionary, like a seminar building, but only that Protestant seminar house. And this one is the original. This one was built in the beginning of 20th century as the foreigners' club to make friends with Japanese people.
The eastern section of Dejima's southern embankment wall. There were 10 or 11 layers of stones. It was used to weigh sugar and other merchandise carried to Nagasaki on the Dutch ships. That was on television today. Drone that will go up above and you can look down at the landscape below. I'd like my own drone.
Man-made island, but in the beginning of 20th century, in the modernization, that's reproduce Dejima once again. So these buildings are all reproduced.
Portuguese first came to Japan.
16th century, and then they brought Christianity and some, European things. First half of the 17th century, Tokugawa government banned the Christianity, and then also Portuguese people were also banned from coming into Japan anymore because they were more for missionary rather than trading, and so the Tokugawa government didn't like it. Exception to Dutch people and Chinese people, because Chinese people were Buddhists, so they were okay and they had a lot of merits in the trade. So,
only 2 ships a year were allowed to come into Nagasaki to stay within this compound, and then they would pass everything out to the Japanese.
But that was the house for the deputy of the team, and that house was for the chief man of Dejima.
The ground floor was used as living space for servants and storage space for food, and the watchtower installed on the roof is featured in numerous illustrations. That's the tower on top that's used in illustrations. This tatami mat room had a floor of tatami mats and papered walls. It's unusual. Identify this building as storage space for both sugar and spoiled sugar cane. It was called Rose Warehouse. The Dutch trade was very important. Only they controlled the ships that went between China and Japan and brought back the precious silk that the Japanese needed and wore every single day, because silk is lightweight. A painter was authorized to enter Dejima and painted several pictures, including the view of Nagasaki harbor, bird's eye view, and the interiors of buildings during the Dutch trade. Recreation of the chief factors, they called them a factor, living quarters. Trade was conducted from June to November every year when the Dutch ships were anchored in Nagasaki harbor. If you read James Clavell's Shogun, once again, it was referred to as the Black Ship. This one is a Portuguese ship that sailed the world's oceans in the 16th and 17th centuries. Portuguese trade, such as raw silk, silk fabrics, woolen and cotton cloth, confections, and even deep frying exerted a strong influence on Japanese lifestyles. The bronze cannon was retrieved from Nagasaki harbor in 1954, and it bears the Dutch East India Company's insignia and the inscription Amsterdam Anno 1640. The official trip to Edo, which is now Tokyo, was one of the most important duties, and it was conducted annually from 1633 to meet the Tokugawa shogun and express thanks for privileges of trade. A round trip took about 90 days. So I don't know if you saw Sheila. This is where the chief factor's residence was, his living space, his private apartment and official rooms for business, as well as reception of guests. The importance of a person was always determined by the amount of tatami mats in a room. Ooh, this is a 35 mat room. These man and his son conducting us through everything. How sweet. An old illustration depicting a party. Servants play music. Back there on the other side.
この辺り電車レールトレンレール
That is now all concrete buildings out there. You can no longer see. It was an island. Dejima was an island unto itself. See,
電車取ればいいんだけどね。
the room was the only part of the building that provided a good view of the harbor. Of course, the Dutch didn't bring any women or families to Japan, and courtesans were the only women allowed access. And this is a maid's room right here. Tatami mats are always the exact same size. The chief factor presented this clock in 1822, fitted with a music box, to the Tokugawa shogun. And it's another 15-mat room. It state that the bell was rung at noon and during transaction periods to announce the landing of cargo. When they unloaded the cargo, it was in this particular square. It's really good to wear shoes that are easy on and off when you're in Asian countries. You do a lot of it. It says find us on Facebook since 1960. Yes, it's considered a special dessert here in Nagasaki. This is one of the few original houses that is still standing from the Dutch period. The atomic bomb didn't touch this area. The former Dejima Protestant Seminary from this end. This shop is loaded with schoolgirls. Little entertainment. The machine changes colors. Be hypnotized. On that one, they're all green. And up there, SoftBank is a mobile phone carrier that sponsors a baseball team.